anything you do during your studies will help you. I actually like your channel, and I like your idea of conducting interviews with others, because this is a misunderstanding from students, probably. Situation. GPAs do not really guarantee you a job. Learn to speak up also when there's something wrong. You should learn how to do public speeches. What will help you to get to know those stuff right here is to have a working student job while you are studying. So actually my first impression is very good. I like colors. It catches the eye of the one who will be reading it. So usually everyone's doing it in white and black. So I think this is cool. The first comment is definitely the picture.
Yeah,
I love it. It's very cute. but yeah, I mean, myself, I wouldn't care. But I think some people or some people in the HR might look at the way you dress, or also the picture position as well.
okay.
Yeah, but in my opinion, I would say it's okay for me. But I'm just saying about from my experience how I would hear other people talk. I was hearing several things as well. I'm not sure. Some people say write what you are looking for, and some people say don't write what you are looking for. Nobody does it anymore.
Okay.
I would say do whatever you like. What you are doing here is absolutely perfect, I would say, because it's not writing that you are doing a certain position, meaning that you are rejecting all other positions, and at the same time it's not that you are not saying anything at all. You are absolutely saying everything in one line. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good programming languages, I would say, important. If you are a software engineer, it will be maybe a little bit different. It depends on the position, but we are now talking in data science. I would say
Yeah.
definitely Python, absolutely. R, many people work with R, but I would say Python is much more popular than R.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have the choice between learning one of them, definitely choose Python.
Yeah.
As a second, SQL, then if you want, go to R, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Machine learning, also good, I would say. You have to mention also supervised and unsupervised machine learning
Okay.
techniques, stuff like this. I would say you don't have to mention specific algorithm names,
Okay.
but it's not wrong. But I would say you should, as a data scientist, of course, know about k-nearest neighbors or decision trees, etc. Another note: pay attention to typos.
Okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
make you like they won't fire you, or they won't even look at your CV if you have a mistake, but it leaves an impression. My
Okay,
manager
okay.
always says typos leaves an impression.
Yeah.
So double check. You have checks your Grammarly.
Yeah.
This is the least thing you can do. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
And the second option is also, of course, to let someone read your CV. If you are reading your CV, you will not see.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are very important. So those big bullet points are important. Machine learning, statistics is very essential in data science. Critical thinking, data visualization. What kind of tools do you have?
Yeah, Tabula, Power BI, and I
Very
mostly
good.
use Tabula.
At my end, I'm using ClickSense.
Okay.
Power BI is also an option. Yes.
Yeah.
I heard about Tableau, but I think once you learn one tool, it's very easy to use the others.
Yeah, exactly.
We have also visual analytics from Zest. There are several ones, but as I said, one will lead to another. So yes, public speaking and team management, absolutely very good software.
Yeah.
Yes, here software, whatever also put in here. Amazon Web Service, I believe, is really really big platform. I think here in Germany, it depends on the company you're working in, but I have seen people here in Germany tend to use Azure more. I have seen in India, they tend to use Amazon Web Service more. So as I said, it's a tool, so you will learn about it. Perfect. Spark. I didn't learn it at the university. I only encountered it at work.
Yeah, I do. Like the whole software tools which I mentioned here was completely, I don't even learn this from university. I totally learned this from my online platforms or from my mentors totally.
Yeah. What will help you to get to know those stuff right here is to have a working job, working student job while you are studying, or having an internship.
Yeah, like the thing was presently I am working in my fourth internship. In my previous three internships, at the same time, I have been part of some kind of hackathons and kind of communities. So that helps me to learn all these things.
Yes, perfect. You see, this is why actually you have to be active as well with your studying. It's not just what the university gives you, you have to work on yourself. But yeah, definitely, Spark is important. And Hadoop as well. In many companies, it's required. Statistical analysis. You're using SAS as well. This is perfect. Many people use SAS. Yeah, any software from that. So it's also very famous in big companies. If you're working in medium or small size companies, you are more towards the open sources. So you're absolutely just using GitHub and Python, and you have to write everything in code by yourself. Those kind of software will provide you with a nice interface where you just drag and drop boxes that implement those algorithms for you. What your job will be mainly is to do this parameter tuning and change things to get the best results.
Exactly.
And building pipelines as well. And this is one of the main tasks, and sometimes challenging. It depends on the infrastructure that you have. But yeah, learning about databases, definitely a plus. Very good, I would say. Good that also you mentioned your LinkedIn account.
GitHub
And GitHub as well. Yeah, cool. I like that. I would say also not from my end. I'm totally with using any email address. But some colleagues, they look for flows. They pay attention to these details. So try to always, whenever you're applying for a job, for a university, maybe nobody cares. But for a job, sometimes they look at the email address and they say, okay, it's not very professional, maybe. It doesn't reflect all these great things that you have done. So always mention your name in the email. So
sure.
Maybe some number, it's okay. But try to make it like as in your name, and then at whatever email provider, it's okay. You can use anything.
Sure.
Yeah, now the audience knows your address. 2 pages are perfectly optimal. 1 page, if you are still a bachelor, maybe you don't know what to write in your CV. But also, I would say, and I would recommend, even if you are a bachelor student, fill it as much as you can with knowledge that you have learned, because HR colleagues look for keywords. So you have the job offer right here, which has some keywords they are looking for, and you have your CV. They will try to match it. If it has several and many matches, you get an interview offer. If you absolutely have nothing, your CV is empty, or it's very general, you will not get a match, and therefore you will not get an interview offer. You won't get to the chance to talk and explain yourself. So your CV should be really like you are doing here, and it has some keywords in there. As I said, no one will write in a job offer that you know how to use specific algorithms. They will write something like machine learning algorithms, natural language processing. They write it. They write NLP. They mention deep learning, machine learning. They mention data analysis. They mention sometimes OpenCV, or they mention GitHub. Definitely, they mention Python. So programming languages should be clearly written. Maybe we could also look into one of the job offers and try to match.
Yeah, sure.
Work experience. Exactly. You start in the right direction, so you always start from the latest till the oldest. Then you do your studies. Let's go. So exactly, you have to mention where. You have to mention what kind of work you were doing. You have to mention the timeline from when to when and the place where it took place, or the country. This will give why you mentioned the country or the city. It gives the impression that you have been working in different places with different teams, with different cultures. You know how to deal with international people, so it's good to mention those information. I like also that you write some bullet points. It's also important. Can you explain to me what this is?
Like, the thing was, it was like, I was just trying to explain that there are lots of trash in the real world data or any kind of practical applications that we need to clean them first.
Mm-hmm.
So first
Okay.
of all, so while any kind of practical applications or any kind of real world projects, there will be some kind of trash or any kind of nonsense involved in the particular part. So we need to sort out the particular thing, and we need to upgrade them to the best level, as it's give best accuracy or best work.
Okay, got the idea. I would say this is also from the basics when writing a CV. If you use abbreviations, put also the whole word in two brackets. You did it here. So you did very good. Conducted, performed, done. Okay.
Okay,
Then full stop. For example, extracting
extracting.
date and time from timestamps using Python. All right. Um, you see this kind of extracting something from big pile of data. This is something of what I do in my daily tasks as well.
Oh, okay.
So you apply patterns. You use regular expressions. You use pandas as well. Yeah. So this is one of just commenting back on that topic.
Okay.
Models or a model. Say what kind of model. So a deep learning model.
Yeah.
Machine learning model, something like this. Or also mention neural networks.
Yeah, sure.
Try to mention this somewhere.
Got it.
Sign detection using TensorFlow, perfect. It's good always to mention. Also, you did this before. Yeah, it's very important to mention what kind of software or tool you have used. All right, so we got to this point. RPA. You have to mention what this is.
Yeah, in
Um,
brackets.
Yes, exactly. I think AI, everyone knows what AI is, but still sometimes mention it.
Thank you.
As I said, it might be a keyword that is written in the job description clearly, artificial intelligence, and you write it in your CV AI. Maybe the software the HR is using don't match those two keywords. Or maybe the HR colleague who's reading doesn't know what AI is, that it's the same as artificial intelligence. Of course, HR colleagues are trained, but you have to keep in mind that sometimes also maybe they are using interns to read the CV. So
Sure.
you have to cope all these possibilities and put everything in your CV. Okay. Actually, you don't have to mention the G. I would say, although it's good, but I heard if it's not excellent, you don't have to write it. It's good to write percentage. The other point also in Germany, the GPA is reversed. So 1 is perfect, 4 is about to fail,
Okay.
5 is failing. As I said, it's the reverse of the American GPA. So if you
Yeah.
are coming from a different country and you're writing your GPA, it might, from the first glance, because German people will read it the way they are used to, maybe they forget that you are coming from another country. I'm just playing scenarios here. Of course, most of them know, but sometimes they just forget because in the back of their mind, it's the other way around. So it might affect your CV.
Yeah, sure.
But as I said, usually in work interviews, nobody really cares about your GPA. It's nice maybe to put the percentage,
Okay,
like you
sure.
are above 80%, above 90%, etc. The best way is to look at your certificate or someone else certificate, see how they write it on really the official certificate and write it down here. All right. Here, leave a space. Always in writing, whenever you use comma, full stop, whatever, leave a space afterwards. This is general writing tips. I think this was one of the points where I started getting into the programming stuff, and I loved it.
And this is where
why I like data science now.
Yeah, like the thing was, this is my first project of my bachelor life, so that's why I used to mention this in my particular resume. So because this is the first project which we had done in entering the BTech as bachelor students. Like it's kind of a hackathon which we conducted by the university as a kind of engineering expo. So we used to build this kind of project. So I used to like to put this kind of project as my first one instead of getting into data science. All
right. In Germany, this was new to me, but in Germany, I have seen we sign the CV.
Yeah.
You have to sign it as well. I found it weird at the beginning, but now I just do it. I don't ask why. I think it's just better for saying that you really, really, absolutely wrote it by yourself and you're responsible for everything written here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what I'm missing so far was the languages.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah, okay. I haven't mentioned the things. The languages. Okay.
Yes, languages.
I have mentioned the programming languages instead of mentioning the normal languages.
As well. Not both. I think you can fit it here somewhere.
Yeah. Below the links or else any kind of above the reach me or anything.
Maybe here. I mean, usually you write the work experiences, the education, then you write the languages.
Yeah.
Then you do the software and non-technical skills. You should definitely mention team player, leadership, presentation skills. I'm not sure if you mentioned this here. Yeah. But those are keywords that absolutely turns up into every single job offer. You have to have it here. All right?
Okay, sure.
As I said, I'm really trying to remember things because I have done my CV a long time ago.
Okay.
But
it's completely fine.
I think so far it's good. The other thing that some people do is you could absolutely, if you cannot fit everything in those 2 pages, you can make it a little bit smaller text size, and add a part of your hobbies.
Okay, hobbies.
Some people actually get the job because it's funny, but it's happening. I heard this so many times from other colleagues. They get the job offer because they do something as the one who is hiring them. So maybe they play music, or they go hiking, or they have some book club or something. I don't know, but sometimes it shows. If you are, for example, playing football, it shows that you have a team spirit. You play football with others, meaning you are always facing conflict sometimes with other team players, or you have to plan, you have to have discipline. So as I said, from 2 point of views, you add those hobbies or interests, personal interests or something, because the first reason is maybe the other person who is interviewing you is interested in those stuff, so you get his attention. And the second reason is that it shows some skills indirectly, as I said, as being a team player or having discipline towards something.
So Shyam, thank you very much for your time. I think this was really an amazing conversation, and I'm pretty sure the people are going to find it really, really very helpful and informative too. And thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Thank you so much also for having me. I was so glad to meet you and get to know you. You're absolutely a great person. I like your personality, and I like the way you are encouraged to do things. So Thank you so much again.
Yeah, it's very
We'll
pleasure
keep
to
in
be.
touch.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sitting throwing rocks across the